in the history of our country. And to help ensure election integrity, go to protectthevote.com. Protectthevote.com. So in conclusion, from Big Fork to Billings, from Glendive to Great Falls, and from Big carved out a life in one of the most beautiful places in all of God's creation. It's true. I saw that. So true. I mean, it's so true. All of that driving today, there's no place more beautiful than this. To get something that said, take a look at what happened. Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Move to spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you.
Ready.
Move.
Up.
Move. Go.
Up. Hawkeye's here.
Hawkeye's here. Move it to the spare.
Spare, get ready. Spare, get ready.
We ready?
Down. Shooter down.
Are we good?
Shooters down.
Shooters down. Are we good to move?
Shooter down. We're good to move.
Clear.
We're
Let's
clear.
move.
We're clear.
Let's move.
We're clear.
Why did Donald Trump want to be killed? After conducting more than 100 interviews, searching the suspect's home and vehicle, and cracking into his cell phone, FBI investigators were still searching on Tuesday for the motive that led a 20-year-old Pennsylvania man to attempt to assassinate a former president. As fallout continued on the security failure that led to the attempt on former President Donald Trump's life, the Pennsylvania State Police said Tuesday afternoon that it was not responsible for securing the area where the gunman opened fire from a rooftop about 400 feet from the rally stage, hitting Trump's right ear, killing a bystander, and wounding 2 others. The state police said in a statement that it provided all resources to the Secret Service, including 30 to 40 troopers to assist with securing the inside perimeter of the campaign rally venue in Butler Township, Pennsylvania, but was not responsible for securing the building or property outside the security perimeter where the would-be assassin opened fire. In an exclusive interview with ABC News, U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle confirmed that local police were present inside the building at the same time the shooter was on the roof firing at Trump. Cheatle also said that local authorities were tasked with securing that building. In this particular instance, we did share support for that particular site and that the Secret Service was responsible for the inner perimeter. And then we sought assistance from our local counterparts for the outer perimeter, Cheatle said. Feds warn of retaliatory acts. As the investigation continued, officials with the FBI, the agency spearheading the probe, and the Department of Homeland Security warned late Monday about the potential for follow-on or retaliatory acts. We cannot rule out the possibility that some DVEs or other actors may attempt follow-on or retaliatory acts of violence in response to this assassination attempt, the 2 agencies said in a joint bulletin, using an acronym for domestic violent extremism. A cell phone used by the alleged assailant, Thomas Matthew Crooks, was sent to Quantico, Virginia, where FBI technicians gained access to its contents, officials said Monday. Investigators did not immediately say if the analysis of the phone being conducted at the FBI laboratory yielded any clues on what drove the suspect to commit such a brazen attempt on Trump's life, a key focus of the inquiry. But investigators were expected to begin an analysis of the device's contents as they focused on search for a motive for the shooting that left 1 rallygoer dead and 2 others wounded, an FBI official said. FBI officials also said a search of the suspect's vehicle and home in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, about 53 miles south of where Saturday's campaign event occurred in Butler Township, has been completed. According to an FBI and Department of Homeland Security bulletin, 2 improvised explosive devices were found in Crook's car and 1 in his home. Over the last several months, Crooks received several packages, including some marked as possibly containing hazardous material, according to a review of his shipping history, the bulletin said. And the bulletin revealed that on the day of the shooting, Crooks purchased 50 rounds of ammunition prior to going to the rally in a gun shop in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. It is unclear what shop the bulletin was referring to. Suspect asked to borrow Dad's AR-15 style rifle. ABC News learned that on the day of the shooting, Crooks told his father he wanted to go to a shooting range and asked if he could borrow his dad's AR-15 style rifle, said a source familiar with the matter. Since the father had occasionally allowed Crooks to go target shooting with a semi-automatic firearm, he didn't think anything was suspicious when he let him use the rifle again on Saturday, the source said. Investigators said Crooks used the rifle in the attempted assassination of Trump. The source also said that Crooks recently purchased ammunition online, as well as in person. Law enforcement has also been canvassing local gun shops in the Pittsburgh area for any information they can glean about Crooks' ammunition buying habits, both purchased in-store and shipped online. Those shops include Allegheny Arms and Gun Works in Bethel Park, roughly a mile from the Crooks' residence. As a responsible member of our community, it is our prerogative to cooperate with law enforcement in every way, Allegheny Arms said in a statement to ABC News. We are thankful that President Trump was not assassinated, and our hearts and prayers go out to all victims of this horrible incident. Out of respect for the ongoing investigation and that of those affected, we will not make any further statements. FBI investigators have conducted nearly 100 interviews of law enforcement personnel, event attendees, and other witnesses as they work to get to the bottom of what transpired at the rally, Bureau officials said in a statement. The FBI has received hundreds of digital media tips, which include photos and videos taken at the scene, and we continue to review incoming tips, the FBI said in its statement. Motive still unknown. The federal investigation into the attempted assassination of the former president is focused on the suspected gunman's motives for the crime and whether he was aided by others, authorities said. In his address to the nation from the Oval Office Sunday night, President Joe Biden said it's unclear what prompted the suspect, identified as Crooks, to attempt such a brazen broad daylight attempt on Trump's life. We don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support or if he communicated with anyone else, Biden said. Law enforcement professionals, as I speak, are investigating those questions.
Trump was about 10 minutes into his speech at an outdoor rally Saturday afternoon when shots rang out, followed by screams. The former president clutched his bleeding right ear and dove to the ground as Secret Service agents swarmed him, the FBI said in a statement late Sunday. A bystander, 50-year-old Coy Comparador, who worked as a local volunteer firefighter, was killed while trying to protect his family from the gunfire, according to Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who called Comparador a hero. 2 other rallygoers shot in the incident were identified by the Pennsylvania State Police as 57-year-old David Dutch of New Kensington, Pennsylvania, and 74-year-old James Koppenhover of Moon Township, Pennsylvania. Dutch and Koppenhover were listed in stable condition, officials said. The FBI has not identified a motive for the shooter's actions, but we are working to determine the sequence of events and the shooter's movements prior to the shooting, collecting and reviewing evidence, conducting interviews, and following up on all leads, the Bureau said in the statement. The building the suspect fired from was outside the security perimeter but was fewer than 400 feet from the podium where Trump was speaking, officials said. Investigators have begun retracing the suspect's steps in an attempt to figure out how Crooks could have made it up onto the roof, which had been swept before the event, law enforcement sources told ABC News. Just moments before the shooting, witnesses in the crowd attempted to point out the armed suspect to Secret Service agents. A Butler Township police officer climbed up on the roof and tried to engage the gunman, who turned his weapon to the officer, causing him to retreat back down, Butler County Sheriff Michael T. Slupe told ABC News, adding that he was informed of the encounter by other law enforcement officials. After being interrupted by the officer, the suspect proceeded to open fire in the direction of Trump, just as the presumptive GOP presidential nominee turned his head to look at a jumbotron, a move Trump would later claim possibly saved his life. The gunman was shot and killed by one of 4 Secret Service counter-snipers positioned on rooftops around the rally, officials said. The FBI is leading the investigation of the shooting. FBI Director Christopher Wray called the assassination attempt on Trump nothing short of an attack on democracy and our democratic process. Homeland Security Secretary says shooter should have never gotten a clear shot. U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, who oversees the U.S. Secret Service, said Monday on ABC's Good Morning America that the 20-year-old gunman who attempted to assassinate Trump should never have been able to get a clear line of sight on the former president. In an interview on Good Morning America with George Stephanopoulos, Mayorkas said the shooting should not have happened. George, a direct line of sight like that to the former president of the United States should not occur, Mayorkas said. Mayorkas said an independent investigation announced by Biden on Sunday is already underway with a focus on the motive of the alleged gunman, identified as Thomas Matthew Crooks, who managed to get up on the roof of an agriculture building about 400 feet from the stage where Trump was speaking, investigators said. We have to learn everything about the assailant who, of course, the Secret Service neutralized, Mayorkas said. We are going to really study the event independently and make recommendations to the Secret Service and to me so that we can assure the safety and security of our protectees, which is one of our most vital missions in the Secret Service. Mayorkas said it is important to have an independent body outside the Department of Homeland Security for the integrity of the investigative process and the conclusions reached and the recommendations made have the full confidence of the government and the American public. And we intend to be transparent with respect to the findings and recommendations of the independent review. Biden promised an independent investigation in the aftermath of the assassination attempt against Trump. Biden said the results of the independent investigation will be made public. During the interview, Mayorkas rejected the false assertion that the Secret Service rebuffed requests for additional resources to Trump's security detail. We keep very close watch on a very dynamic threat environment. The president, the former president, are commonly consistently under threat, Mayorkas said. We take every single threat seriously. We make security adjustments as are warranted. We had enhanced security for the former president, beginning in June. We had not received any requests for additional security measures that were rebuffed. That is false. Biden also ordered the Secret Service to review security plans for the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, which is scheduled to start on Monday. Mayorkas said he is confident in the security plan for the RNC. Suspicious devices found in suspect's car and home. FBI investigators, led by the Pittsburgh field office, have searched Crooks' home in Bethel Park, a suburb of Pittsburgh. They've also searched his vehicle, which was at the scene of the shooting in Butler, the FBI said. The AR-15 style rifle allegedly used by Crooks had been legally purchased in 2013 by the suspect's father, law enforcement sources told ABC News. The family is cooperating with the investigation. Secret Service Director stresses getting to the bottom of what happened. In a statement released on Monday, U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle stressed that her agency is focused on learning how the gunman got a clear shot of Trump. She also expressed faith in the Secret Service's security plan for the RNC.
The Secret Service is working with all involved federal, state, and local agencies to understand what happened, how it happened, and how we can prevent an incident like this from ever taking place again, Cheadle said. We understand the importance of the independent review announced by President Biden yesterday and will participate fully. Since the assassination attempt, Cheadle said she has been in constant contact with Secret Service personnel in Pennsylvania. The FBI has taken over as the lead of the investigation. I have also been coordinating with the protective detail for former President Trump and have briefed President Biden on the details of the incident, Cheadle said. Cheadle said the attempt on Trump's life has understandably led to questions about potential updates or changes to the security at the RNC. She said the agency has also implemented changes to Trump's security detail since the shooting to ensure his continued protection for the convention and the remainder of the campaign. I am confident the security plan our Secret Service RNC coordinator and our partners have put in place, which we have reviewed and strengthened in the wake of Saturday's shooting, Cheadle said. The security plans for national special security events are designed to be flexible. As the conventions progress, and in accordance with the direction of the President, the Secret Service will continuously adapt our operations as necessary in order to ensure the highest level of safety and security for convention attendees, volunteers, and the city of Milwaukee. Former President Donald Trump began his speech accepting the GOP presidential nomination by describing in the greatest detail yet being the target of an assassination attempt, and said he may never tell the story again. Trump's remarks in Milwaukee on Thursday were his first major address since he was shot at a campaign rally Saturday in Butler, Pennsylvania. The shooting, which injured Trump and 2 other people and killed a man, has loomed over the Republican National Convention this week. Here's what Trump, wearing a bandage over his injured right ear, told convention attendees. "Let me begin this evening by expressing my gratitude to the American people for your outpouring of love and support following the assassination attempt at my rally on Saturday. As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me what happened, tell us what happened, please, and therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time, because it's actually too painful to tell. It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Music was loudly playing, and the campaign was doing really well. I went to the stage, and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily, because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it. Behind me and to the right was a large screen was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right, and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard, on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet, and moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood. Just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did, they rushed to the stage. These are great people. At great risk, I will tell you. And pounced on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way I felt very safe, because I had God on my side. I felt that. I felt that. The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would be here tonight. We would not be together. The most incredible aspect of what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later. In almost all cases, as you probably know, when even a single bullet is fired, just a single bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. This was very unusual. This massive crowd of tens of thousands of people stood by and didn't move an inch. In fact, many of them bravely, but automatically, stood up looking for where the sniper would be. They knew immediately it was a sniper, and then began pointing at him. You can see that if you look at the group behind me. That was just a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason that they didn't move. The reason is that they knew I was in serious trouble. They saw me go down, they saw the blood, and thought, actually, most did, that I was dead. They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood. And there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body, for whatever reason. The doctors told me that and I said, why is there so much blood? They said it's the ears, they bleed more. So we learned something. But this beautiful crowd, they didn't want to leave me. They know I was in trouble, they didn't want to leave me. And you can see that love written all over their faces. Incredible people. They're incredible people.
Bullets were flying over us, yet I felt serene. But now the Secret Service agents were putting themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous territory. Bullets were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And then it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance and with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life. Took him out. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. I'm not supposed to be here. I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God. In watching the reports over the last few days, many people say it was a providential moment. Probably was. When I rose, surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over. But I could see it and wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. So I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight." Once my clenched fist went up, and it was high into the air, you've all seen that, the crowd realized I was okay and roared with pride for our country, like no crowd I have ever heard before. Never heard anything like it. For the rest of my life, I will be grateful for the love shown by that giant audience of patriots that stood bravely on that fateful evening in Pennsylvania. Tragically, the shooter claimed the life of one of our fellow Americans, Coy Comparator, unbelievable person, everybody tells me, unbelievable, and seriously wounded two other great warriors, spoke to them today, David Dutch and James Capenhover, two great people. I also spoke to all three families of these tremendous people. Our love and prayers are with them, and always will be. We are never going to forget them. They came for a great rally. They were serious Trumpsters, I want to tell you, they were serious Trumpsters. And still are. But Coy, unfortunately, we have to use the past tense. He was incredible. He was a highly respected former fire chief, respected by everybody. He was accompanied by his wife, Helen, incredible woman. I spoke to her today, devastated. And two precious daughters. He lost his life selflessly acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit. What a fine man he was. I want to thank the fire department and the family for sending his helmet, his outfit. And it was just something, and they are going to do something very special when they get it, but we did something which cannot match what happened, not even close. But I am very proud to say that over the past few days, we've raised $6.3 million for the families of David, James and Coy, including from a friend of mine. Just called up, he sent me a check right here, just got it. $1 million. From Dan Newlin. Thank you, Dan. And again, when speaking to the family, I told them, I said, well, we're going to be sending you a lot of money, but it can't compensate. They all said the same thing. You're right, sir. We appreciate so much what you're doing, but nothing can take the place in the case of Coy and the other two. By the way, they were very, very seriously injured, but now they are doing very well. They are going to be okay. They are going to be doing very well. They are warriors. So now I ask that we observe a moment of silence in honor of our friend Coy. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for others.
Are you looking for entertaining and educational content to watch? Subscribe to our YouTube channel today for a variety of interesting videos on topics you love. Join our growing community and never miss out on new uploads. Hit the subscribe button now. Discover new ways to learn and be entertained by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Engage with like-minded viewers and stay updated on our latest videos. Don't miss out, click the subscribe button and be part of our exciting YouTube community.